The neighboring Nigeria President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday swore in 45 ministers who were earlier cleared by the Senate. The inauguration was held at the State House Conference Center in Abuja. The ministers were sworn in batches, but were all inaugurated on Monday. Stakeholders are of the opinion that with the ministers now sworn in, the administration should get down to the business of governance. Joining me live to discuss this is Ahmed Hussaini, a public affairs commentator. Warm welcome to you, Ahmed, and thanks for joining us on News Now.
Thank you.
Now, Ahmed, many Nigerians have waited to have the ministers come on board. The president, before this moment, has been governing with a retinue of special advisors. What measures do you think should be taken to address the current economic challenges and ensure sustainable growth in Nigeria? And will the swearing of these ministers lead to Nigerians seeing a more responsive government?
All right, thank you. I think the inauguration of the ministers is going to actually have an idea of which direction the government is taking. And already the ministers have been, when the nominees were made public, and then people were excited with some of the names. And as with every cabinet, it's kind of a delicate balancing act, because the president needs to reward some politically, and then you need to also include some people that their expertise are required in order to make the required impact on governance. But the most important thing is the problem for the current economic challenges that we're facing largely stem from the removal of fuel subsidies, as well as the exchange rate policy of the present government. And I think the government is ready, or I think they're prepared for the consequences of such decision, because these are the things that the government actually campaign on. Right from, if you look at the campaign, the manifesto, and the policies of President Tinubu and maybe other presidential candidates during the last elections, all of them actually campaigned on removing fuel subsidies and also, unifying the exchange rate, or the exchange rate, in order to stabilize, the naira. So the consequences are well known to the government, and at the same time, the government actually should now be able to know what to do. So now people are expecting to see some real changes on ground as the government, set to hit the ground running.
Absolutely. Nigerians are expecting to see changes. And of course, one of those changes, one of those areas will be in the area of security. Since the inception of this new administration, we've seen security incidents in Mangu local government in Plateau State, and also Niger State last week, where Nigeria lost quite a number of servicemen. Now that the ministers have been sworn in, what are your expectations on the government's response to national security to curb the escalating threat of insurgency and banditry in the country? What are your expectations, and what do you, what sort of response should Nigerians expect from the government?
Yeah, so actually, the security challenges we are facing, they've been with us, for the past 10 to 20 years. Of course, we have some evolving challenges that are actually coming up, like the banditry, and other insecurities across, the country. But I have been always advocating that, we need to have a new security strategy in Nigeria, because if you look at our current security strategy, it depends on us reacting or responding to security challenges instead of preparing and preventing them before they even occur. So the government needs to be more proactive in its security approach. And to do that, it is not just to deploy kinetic approaches, no, but the government needs to do more in intelligence gathering, in stakeholder relationship management, and trying to study or keep pace with evolving security challenges so that they can stop them before they even become very troubling. So I think the government needs to overhaul the whole security architecture, come up with a new security strategy that depends on more proactiveness than just reacting to security development around the country.
Absolutely. Now, Ahmed, before I let you go, we've witnessed the two major decisions taken by this government since it was sworn in: the removal of the subsidy and, of course, the floating of the naira. Economists have talked about diversifying the economy from a monoproduct, oil-based economy. Looking at the current economic realities, in your opinion, what policies and initiatives should the government focus on to promote non-oil sectors, and how can they create more job opportunities for Nigerian citizens, and also bring some level of succor to long-suffering Nigerians?
Yeah, so I think this is quite on point. What the government needs to do in order to bring some succor is actually and to diversify the economy, because we've been hearing a lot of talks about diversification of the economy, moving away from oil to non-oil dependency, but we have seen less action or less result in that regard. And for government to actually do to actually pursue a diversification policy that really impact, on the whole economy. We need to improve the competitiveness of Nigeria's businesses. We need to create an enabling environment, through some business-friendly policies in terms of, taxation, in terms of, protecting, Nigerian businesses, in terms of skills development, in terms of addressing issues around brand technology transfer. All these are like whole of an industry kind of approach, integrated kind of approach that government needs to actually implement, not just across one specific sector, but across different sectors of the economy in order, to push the economy forward, increase the competitiveness of Nigeria's businesses, make, Nigeria more productive, bolster economic growth, create jobs for people. I think these are the kind of things that the government needs to do in order to, cushion the effect of these policies, because at the rate that we are going, these policies are creating very devastating effects on Nigerians in terms of rising cost of living, in terms of rising economic hardship.
Now, finally, Ahmed, before I let you go, are you looking at the overall composition of the ministerial list, and this ministers that have been sworn in from different backgrounds? Are you confident in their ability to perform, and what are your expectations? And also, the lack of gender parity in the ministries, how do you think this will impact on the overall performance? Because the president did not live up to his campaign promises of, giving more executive roles to women in governance.
Yeah, I agree that the caliber of ministers we have will truly impact on governance, and also there is need for gender parity. But I think, as we've seen or we've experienced in Nigeria, with different administrations, the overall quality of governance actually depends on the president's own determination, the composition of his own core team, core cabinet, and the kind of policy that he has in place, and the kind of energy and enthusiasm and determination that he has in order to drive these policies forward. Not just about the composition of the names that make up the list. You may have big names making up the cabinet list, but if the president or at the core level of decision making there is not that energy and political will to push forward reforms that will impact on Nigerians, then we may not get to see some visible results.
Thank you very much for your time and insight, Ahmed Hussaini, Public Affairs Analyst. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.